Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tank12, however you want to call me, I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks. Coming back at you with the Panther 88 because, yeah, I have been playing this bad boy for an entire week and I've gathered about over 80 games in this vehicle now. I haven't played my Panther 88 prior, like, extremely much, but I did play it occasionally, and I know that a lot of players really dislike the Panther 88. I myself, when I was first playing this tank, wasn't very satisfied with the mobility of the vehicle, I wasn't very satisfied with the armor, the height, the size, and thus, I didn't really have the best of games, but some of the games that I had were still decent because you have a very, very good DPM. Your mobility is good enough to get you from point A to B. And if you do have the right equipment and the right field modifications, you can make this tank really work in your favor. But still, no preferential matchmaking. You'll be facing tier 10 tanks. You'll be facing tier 9 vehicles. And it doesn't matter if they are tier 8s, tier 7s. Everyone is going to be able to penetrate your tank. That's basically one of the biggest issues that you have with the Panther 88 and the Panther 2, or the Panther in general. It's a big tank, it's easy to penetrate, and basically very difficult to hide. So, I thought that this was going to be a challenge where I'm going to be free marking this tank, and go as far as I can. And I'm still working on that. I'm still trying to free mark the vehicle, but currently I'm sitting at 87%. 87% on the Marks of Excellence, because this tank only needs 2,500 damage, or 2,500 damage combined, to actually get 3 Marks of Excellence. And I thought, you know what, that's doable. There were a lot of games at first that didn't go very well because I was too aggressive. Then there were a lot of games afterwards where I was too passive and I kind of did maybe get enough damage, but the result was I didn't really get enough. I didn't get enough game participation. We didn't win a lot of games, and it was a very frustrating experience at first. What also made this very frustrating, as you can see in a second, is that the gun on this vehicle is quite accurate. You also have a very good DPM, as you can see right there, beautiful DPM, but you know, 203 millimeters of penetration with the AP shells as standard rounds, that's fine by me, but only 237 millimeters of penetration with the APCR shells, that is horrendous. And you're going to go up against tier 10 tanks, right? So basically, it made it very awkward for me. So I had to kind of adjust my gameplay style when I was playing this tank, and I've noticed that, well, how about I stay as one of those big medium tanks that tries to spot a little bit, you know, because the view range in this vehicle isn't too bad. I also pushed everything, I got premium consumables and all of that stuff to get it to the max. And also, I tried to track as many vehicles as I can, because the assistance damage tracking vehicles is going to be very easy because you have a lot of, you have a very high rate of fire. Your DPM is great. I think my current DPM is sitting at 3,100. So that's going to definitely work out in your favor. But the tank still feels very awkward. You have to be extremely cautious with your moves. You have to be cautious with what you want to do. You cannot be aggressive most of the time unless you're with other tanks. And what I've noticed is that when you're with other heavy tanks, for example, and you're trying to make a play, what ends up happening often is that enemy tanks will focus their attention on you. They will shift their attention to start engaging you because your tank is very easy to penetrate, and a lot of these haul down heavies are very difficult to engage. So even when you're going with other heavy tanks, you're going to be the main target very quickly, and artillery loves you. Artillery is your best friend in this vehicle. When you get lit up, artillery is going to be all over your face because your vehicle is large, you don't have a lot of armor on top, and artillery just really likes to take a dump on anything that is large and easy to hit. So yeah, what has left me, or what does that leave me with? we have a Panther 2 with very good DPM, but very limited ways of getting that DPM to work. Mobility wise, you're okay. You're not the fastest tank. Your horsepower or your power to weight ratio is not very good, so it takes a while to accelerate the vehicle. But still, at the same time, I think the top speed of 51 kilometers with the turbo is completely fine. You'll get there in time, and you'll get to different positions if you just decide early on where you want to go. So that means with the DPM, with the very good sniping capabilities, I think what leaves us there is we're able to now be a bit of a sniping support medium, and if we need to go and get involved, we have to have the HP to make it worth our time, because we only have 1,500 for a medium at tier 8. That sounds quite good, but remember the Burrasque also at tier 8 with a lot better mobility and obviously no armor, a very lightly armored vehicle, because it needs to have some downsides. It almost has no HP. It has 1,250. You have 250 HP more than the Burrasque, and the issue is you basically have almost just as bad of armor as the Burrasque. So yeah, okay, that's maybe overdoing it a little bit, but your armor is pretty horrendous. Basically everyone is going to go right through if they manage to just hit your tank somewhere, and that means it's quite awkward. You'll have to really pick out your engagements in a smart way, and you'll have to be smart about a lot of things when you're playing this tank. But when it works out, it is actually quite a surprising feeling, because you're severely underpowered in most regards. You have very bad penetration, you have lacking mobility, lacking armor, your view range is decent, but you have very good DPM, so you want to use that to a max. So what ends up happening is you try to get into these positions where you can continuously fire without getting spotted, as we can do right here. And because the enemy team is not really advancing on our position, we're able to put a lot of pressure on the enemy team. Now, I've managed to get quite a few games where I was able to do a lot of damage in this tank, and also quite a few games where I was able to get a lot of assistance damage. But the problem is just not every single map will allow you to play as I can play right here. So that means you have to always be able to adapt. Now, one of the very cool things about this tank, what I didn't know when I started playing it like last week, is that this vehicle actually has 280 alpha damage for an 88mm gun. Instead of the 240 or the 230 that some American tanks have, having 280 alpha damage is really gonna give you a little bit of an advantage. So right here, I made the move. I wanted to move up. I want to put some pressure on these guys. And you can see the game is almost over. We're certainly going to be winning this. But we have like a majority of our HP still lying around for us. So I'm trying to get some damage on the STA2. Right here, you have a little bit of a RNG working in my favor. But it's going to change very quickly. You can see right here, first round hits the ground, and I'm going to get hit by the STA2. Second round hits the exact same spot, and I'm unable to do any damage. There's the IS-22. I do damage to him, and I manage to pen him with my 88mm gun. I'm still waiting for the STA2, but I do notice some movement coming in over from the left side, and I'm kind of expecting I have some support. I have the TNH 105, I have a Centurion 1 behind me, but we still have 3 tanks right here, the TheFrXion, the Chafutur, and the M3Y. So I'm just waiting for this STA to have a little bit of a payback, because I always take it personal when I get hit by someone. And unfortunately for me, he doesn't show up. So what I'm trying to do right here is I'm just trying to put some pressure on these guys, to get them or to remind them that I'm not going anywhere. Don't push me. If you push me, you're going to regret it. And all of a sudden I notice, wait a minute, I was hit by the Chafutur 4. He comes around the corner. He drives right in and drives through friendly fire. We hit him once. We changed focus because I know that the M3Y has very, very good rate of fire. And now I know that I have to take out the Shafutu 4, or else he might be able to get away, because I'm one of the final tanks right here. But it seems to me that somebody's probably going to be able to do some damage to Shafutu 4, as he's slowly but surely driving away off to some other place. So right here you can see TheFrXion is still waiting for me. He hasn't charged us, and like 2 attacks and we're down 415 HP. That's how quick it can go. Your armor is not going to hold up. Very nice shot on the TNH TVZ51. And now we're at combined damage of almost 6,000. Currently it's at 5,700 or 800. And I think we're definitely going to get to the combined damage range of 6k. In the end, maybe even a little bit above it, because in this scenario where you're able to shoot these guys and put some pressure on them, unfortunately we get a bounce on the eyes to this is where your Panther 2 is really going to be shining. The issue is just there are not a lot of games that go this way. When you are getting caught out somewhere, you're getting caught out, and in the end we're trying to ram the TheFrXion. He does 41 damage to us. We do 348. So this is a great tank for ramming some lightly armored stuff, and we end up in total with about almost 6 and a little bit more than 6,500 damage combined. Now the Panther 88 and also the Panther 2, I think they're very similar in gameplay styles, and in that regard they certainly don't feel like they're a part of the current World of Tanks meta. They are certainly not a part of the meta. I don't think they'll be upgraded in the near future, but the Panther 88 and the Panther 2, they still can work in the game. They are just very niche, and it's very difficult to have good games in them, especially in a for longer durations, because being consistent in a game where inconsistency is basically all around, and having consistently good games means that you have to be very, very good at adapting your playstyle to every single map tier, to all the different tanks you're facing, the different combinations of teams and places you can go, the limitations of the map, limitations of your vehicle. So in the end, that is very, very difficult to achieve in a tank that kind of already underperforms with its own characteristics. So the Panther 88, yeah, I'm working on the free mark. I'm going to make an update video when I free mark this tank. I've only played this vehicle for about 4-5 days, and I have to say I've enjoyed it still. I managed to get a 64% win rate. It used to be 72. Then I played more games like in a row, but still I dropped down a couple of percent. Then I went up again. I was at 58. Now I'm 64%. So I finally kind of figured out how I want to play this tank, and I'm not just a part of a player that is kind of bogging the team down, but I'm also a valuable asset now to my team. But either way, I hope you guys did enjoy this little video, a little view back at the Panther 88 after 1 week of grinding, and I see you guys on the next video. Until then, have a good one.